It's probably no surprise that building in Terraria requires that the creative juices are flowing, and usually what that means is that you've probably got some idea that's crystallized over a little period of time and you now know how you're going to make it, or maybe you just saw something in a photo or in real life that really inspired you to try. Or perhaps you could have your favorite cold beverage laying around to, really help get you in the mindset. Hey Terraria fans, welcome back to another speed build video. Guys, in this one, I'm going to be making the Tavernkeep's NPC home, which means we're going to be making something that is, inspired and influenced slightly by beer. So no guys, don't drink and build, okay? It's unsafe. Now, I know it's probably a little cliche, but building a tavern for the Tavernkeep, well, it makes good sense. And yes, I did fall into that category as well. However, I did decide to make a slight little change, which is to make this kind of combine the old school with a bit more of, I guess, this technology-friendly feel that I've been going with. So you'll sort of see what this looks like when it's done, guys. It's a very interesting design in my opinion. Has a lot of features that I enjoy, but it combines the mechanical with the, I guess, that old school tavern feel. Also, quick spoiler, guys, this tavern is actually called Moe's Tavern, not because of The Simpsons, but because the NPC was actually named Moe, which I thought was awesome. So we kind of ran with that theme as well. Now, one more thing, guys, is if you want to catch me making any of these builds live, guys, you can do so by checking me out on Twitch. The link is down below. And of course, if you're enjoying any of the content here on the channel, guys, just feel free to hit the like, the subscribe, or the little dinner bell thingy so you can know when the next video hits the old YouTube universe. But with that said, sit back, relax, grab yourself a fine beverage, and, well, enjoy the build. right, folks, so with the build for the Tavern Keep now done, I'm going to go ahead and cover all of the materials like I promised at the beginning of the video. Now, as you can probably tell, we have 2 chests here because we have a lot of stuff in this build. So I encourage you to pause the video here if you want to take a really quick look at all of the walls and some of the blocks. And similarly, I encourage you to also pause the video here if you want to take a closer look at the paints, but there's only 9. And since we already have it open, let's go ahead and focus on these 9 paints, which are fairly straightforward. I think you'll be able to tell where a lot of these colors are used, but the majority of the paint for me with the deep lime and the red is really just about making this look like Moe's Tavern from The Simpsons, which of course, as our NPC is actually named Moe, well, this was sort of part of the idea and the theme. The rest of the house is a combination of gray, brown, white, some negative paint, as well as some black, and of course a little bit of yellow here and there. And finally, we did use a little bit of echo coating. So again, not a lot of different paints here. I think if you didn't have a theme in mind, I would definitely recommend a purple or a blue. I just generally like those for roofing and for builds, but the idea of paint and color choice is completely up to you. Now, moving on to the blocks and the walls, guys, we have a pretty loaded chest here, but the ones that probably stand out the most to me are going to be for the beer and for, I guess, the beer mug. There's some pretty cool elements here, and obviously we're going to start with our cloud wall and our honey fall wall. Now, I don't typically use these in a build. I, of course, do use a cloud wall for, well, clouds when I put them in, but here I wanted to make the mug and the beer feel alive and frothy, and I thought these worked out really, really well. Beyond that, I did use a lot of wood tones, of course, some palm wood, some normal wood wall, and a bit of mahogany in combination with a bit of planked wall. So something to give it a little bit of flavor. I think the spooky wood also added a nice little touch here and there. I then combined that with a lot of fencing, including pearl wood fence, some boreal wood fence, and some mahogany fence, and a little bit of shade wood fence as well. So certainly we've got a lot of textures here, but I really do think that they all work quite nicely together. Now, these are just the walls, so moving on to the blocks, guys. Again, we used a lot of wood, so starting with ebon wood, some rich mahogany, and some spooky wood. These are really the foundation of this build, in my opinion, as well as some gray brick and some ebon brick, and of course a little bit of stone accent slab. All in combination, this is probably the heart of the build. And again, adding touches and details were important, and that's where the honey fall block comes in. Some platinum brick, some cog, and some cloud. Again, the honey fall block is going to be for our pipe work that makes the beer flow through and go to the actual keg or draft stand, and I think it just generally looks pretty nice. We also had a couple of details with the palladium column, and of course a little bit of glass here and there just to make things look a little bit more interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the materials, guys. I know it's quite a bit, but hopefully that gives you a bit more insight into the design here. So with that said, guys, let's move on with the rest of the video. All right, so there you go, guys. There is the home done for the Tavern Keep. Now, I really like the way this one turned out. I do love that I included the Moe's Tavern element.
Here you go. Here I am. Uncle Moe. Thank you, ma'am. This'll be a treat. Uncle Moe, here I am. While you eat.
I didn't realize he was actually named Moe until very late in the actual build. And then when I saw his name, well, I had to make it Moe's, which means I had to make the right paint scheme that is obviously from The Simpsons. Now, this build is interesting in the fact that I can't easily pick out my favorite part. There's a lot to like here, and you'd be totally right to pick out the beer mug as being a really cool element. But for me, it's actually what it's pouring into, which is the mechanical system that sort of, I guess, pumps it back to the bar. And then actually the bar and the, I guess, table itself, that big blue section, I really like that as well. So those pieces of the designs are probably the ones that stand out the most. But at the same time, I will say that the roof is also pretty good. I mean, I used a slightly different technique here for the design, where I actually used some fences and some beams, and I just kind of really like the way that it turned out. But yeah, that's pretty much just my opinion on the matter, so I do hope that you enjoy this build as well. And guys, please use this as inspiration for your future builds. I really do hope that this inspires you to try something a little bit more, well, challenging and a little bit more interesting. But either way, just let me know what you think in the comments down below. And with that, we're done. So guys, thank you so much for watching until the end of this video. And as always, thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. We will see you in the next one.